You know, excellent connection. See it on my page,
Yes.
my live. Okay, cool.
See it, yeah, on the
Yeah,
page. Yeah, it works.
cool, cool. I don't expect anybody to actually show up on this live, so I'm gonna wait a couple of seconds before I really get started, just in case anybody actually wants to hop in and say what's up. Say what's up in the chat if you are coming in. If you come in, say what up. Let me know. We're gonna kick it for a hot little minute. Got some stuff to discuss. Want to go over some comments. Maybe see if there's anybody in the community that's hanging out, wants to chat, has any questions. I'm here for that. I'm gonna try to start doing this a little bit more, probably until we reach our, 1,000 watch hours uh, that we need to get the channel monetized, because that's one of my goals for the channel. And I'm actually coming up on one of like my more viral videos that's made a spike in my watch time around the end of this month last year. And if you know anything about the YouTube algorithm or monetization rules, your 4,000 watch time hours has to be all within 365 days. So if I crush that threshold to where my spike is, then my watch time will tank, and then I'll be much further away from monetization than I am right now, which is yeah, kind of a crappy spot to be in. So we're doing stuff like this, and I figure while I have the moment, while I have some time and the opportunity to sit and hang out with you guys, figured I'd do that. Again, you pop in, say what's up in the chat. Wait a little bit for peoples. But yeah, forget that I actually put the thumbnail and title up, so you probably already know what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about when is the right time to get an office. As you can see, I'm in my office space here. I'm actually in the back side of my office space. My cleaning company office is in the front of the space. I use this side of the office of the space as my media studio. So it's where I shoot content for all the brand clients and real estate agents and my company and things like that. Handle all of that stuff in the back side of this office, which is really, really cool. In my last office, I didn't have space to do anything other than run the cleaning business. So it's kind of cool to be in a much larger space. But I can't remember. I know Daryl Moy, who I messed up their name in the last video, so I want to apologize to Daryl. My bad. I really just didn't have a way to double check the YouTube account name, so I made that mistake. But sorry, Daryl. Daryl asked about getting into office. It won't be the right time, and another young lady asked. I'm not even gonna try to remember the name because to avoid what I just did to Daryl. But yeah, these guys want to know, when they're on the fence about moving into an office, and I think hearing how I approached it and how I was thinking may give you some perspective on when you might want to do it, because I went about it in a little bit of an unorthodox way. I didn't necessarily do it the right way or do it the way I would advise someone to do it. I was a little bit more risky than I would advise someone else to do. But I also had I had a really deep conviction in what I was doing, and I was also doing it at a different time. This was pre-COVID, and business. If you were doing any kind of business, it was going to work. If you were like pre-COVID, if you had your own business and you weren't successful, that was probably your fault. Everything was pretty much easy. People had way too much money, and people were spending money like crazy. So it was easy. It was easy as cake. But to start from the very beginning, before I got an office, before I had any place to do anything, I was, let's start from me cleaning accounts myself. So I'm cleaning accounts myself. I have most of my equipment in the trunk of my car, and any paperwork or anything like that I was printing out, like proposals and stuff, I would have in a little desk in the front of my living room. So I would have my couch and I'd have my desk, and I had my paperwork and my computer, all right in my living room, and all of my supplies pretty much fit in my trunk. It got around to the point of me like doing a lot of you know pulling things out and leaving something in the living room. Like I'll leave a gallon of some cleaner in the living room, or I'll bring a backpack in, or I'll get a client and then I'd need another backpack vacuum, and then I'd need somewhere to put one of the backpack vacuums. So then I would throw some stuff in my shed, or I would you know or eventually eventually it started to kind of take over my life. It started to take over my living space, which did not sit well with my kids and the dog. It became real messy, and it became real hard to move around the house. But it was still just me cleaning, so I was able to manage. I wasn't necessarily worried about doing anything to change it. I was just living in what I was doing, because I was in the beginning just set on being cleaning and taking a good paycheck, being self-employed, and I was cool with that. I was okay being self-employed, okay pretty much working out of my trunk, and every now and then pulling some extra cables or a vacuum or something inside my house and just setting it in my kitchen or my shed until the next time that I need it, and that worked for me. It didn't even dawn on me until I started studying business a little bit more and started studying scale, and realizing what scale was. Again, if you're just joining the live, say what's up in the chat, man. Let me know you're here. I don't want to be here talking to myself the whole time. I'm rambling a little bit because I don't know if anybody's here. I'm on OBS and YouTube at the same time. Can't really see, who's what, who's where. So y'all say what up in the chat so I can, know who's here and who's watching. But but yeah, where was I? Yeah, I was pretty much set on just being self-employed, and I started actually studying business, studying scale, trying to figure out how to be a little bit more efficient. Then the idea of trying to expand my capabilities. It got to the point where I'm like, hey, I really don't want to do much more work. I make enough money for myself that I don't necessarily need more money. It'd be nice to make some more money, but I kind of would be cool with just doing what I do, and if I get something else, bring someone on, or maybe I do that and I kind of just take the profit. And so that's how I approach it. And so I had initially, as I put out my first job ads and I'm looking for people to come and work for me, I didn't have like a good response initially. I didn't have like a good, like I would get people that would apply. I get a lot of applications, and then nobody would show up for interviews, and that went on for probably maybe 4 or 5 months. It got frustrating, and I thought that it was because I was trying to hold these interviews in places like Starbucks and Barnes and Nobles and libraries, or university office areas and study rooms and things like that. And I thought that would suffice. And sometimes, every now and then it would be okay. It would work out. I would actually meet up with somebody. We'd actually have the interview. But for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe it was insecurity. I thought that it was because I didn't appear professional enough in my head. And so in my head, it didn't matter if I wore a suit or a tuxedo to these interviews. If I wasn't in an office, then I felt like I wasn't being perceived or taken seriously. So it started to put the bug in my head that I needed to do something. And I started looking into what I could do for an office. At that time, commercial real estate was crazy expensive, and it immediately became like a non-starter. So what I did was I looked for a storage unit to store my equipment, and I put a little bit of pressure on some of my clients to store more equipment in their facilities, which worked out. I still had to carry around some stuff, but I was able to store a lot more of the big stuff in facilities that I was going to multiple times a week. So as I would get people in, that worked a little bit more. I realized I had to leave some equipment with employees a little bit more And as time went on, we needed, we got more clients, we needed more and more equipment, and I think we got a huge client. We got a really big restaurant, which we don't do restaurants anymore because of this client, but it was a huge contract. Like, I think we brought on like 9 people just for this one contract, and we probably purchased maybe $6,000 in cleaning supplies to do this job. And when it didn't work out, we took all of our equipment back. Because we took all of our equipment back, I had nowhere to put it, so I had to move into a much larger storage unit. Uh, and but because of the contract and because of the having the team, I started looking for larger jobs to support that. I did have to let a couple of people go, but I found another pretty decently sized contract, and I just kind of kept going. I kept a few people that I had, and I got a much larger storage unit, and that's pretty much how we operated. I would have them, go to the storage unit as they needed. Most of the other larger equipment was in the facilities, and as we got more and more equipment, I just put more and more stuff into the storage unit. I didn't really think about getting an office again until I needed to hire some more. And I also needed a way. I needed motivation. I was kind of sick of where I was, and I had this obsession with trying to be a real company. Trying to convince people, like convince myself to look like a real company. I didn't want to. I didn't want to do it for fake. I didn't want to do it for as a hobby or a side thing. This was my full time thing, and so I wanted it to look like a real business. I wanted it to look like a real company, and that I don't think that that's necessarily how you should be thinking about it. I think that was more of an insecurity factor than it was something that was true. I think it was a fallacy. Because, I mean, but for me, I looked at it as motivation. If I were to take on this office and take on an office and take on a little bit more financial pressure, that it would push me to, to work harder, to do a lot more, to actually try to get bigger clients and try to keep, because now you have to. I figured it would put me under that pressure, and I wouldn't have a choice. So that was kind of what pushed me into it, and I really wanted to scale. I didn't have like a large enough reserve to cover 3 to 6 months of rent, which is what you should have before you try to commit to a long-term purchase like that, or a long-term move like that. You should have something in reserve. I did not. I had maybe 2 months of payroll, and maybe what would be like a month of reserves of an office expenses. So it was definitely a stretch. It was definitely not like a clear it's time to do it. But I was at a place where I felt like I wouldn't. It was hard to get past that level without it. And sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to step out on faith, and it's just like it's like that sometimes. It can be. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I can't say that it was the right thing to do. I can't say that it like and I can't give you a reason that like it made sense for me to get an office at that time. It really just it didn't make sense. I should have waited, but knowing myself, that's why self awareness is key. Self awareness is is everything. I knew myself. I knew that if having an office and giving my employees a place to congregate, having an official looking place where I can interview potential employees, I knew that it would spark something in me that would make me work harder, and that I would do whatever it took to keep my business afloat, and to be able to make rent and make payroll every month. And I just, it was because I was obsessed. I didn't want to take any other option. But I don't think you have to get an office. I was fine where I was. We did get more clients. We did scale a little bit, but I can't say that I needed an office until probably for another 7 or 8 months into that office, and then we ended up moving out after the first year of the lease. So we didn't actually need it until we were there for probably more than half a year. It's but also, who's to say that if I would have not gotten to the office, that I would have actually showed up to work every day, and in the same mind state that I was, and with the same motivation that I had every day when I had the office, if I would have actually been able to scale to that level. But you never know. You really just have to know yourself. That's pretty much it. You really have to know yourself. If you need stability, if you have other financial obligations, if you're still if you're still using a lot of the money, and you have to work in the business at the same time, if that's a requirement, it just may not be time. I would say hold off. Try to have at least a couple months of expenses. If it's something that's going to push you, just know that when you move into an office, that's that. You now have overhead, you now have bills. It's not just rent that you have to cover. It's you have your internet for computers. You have light bills, gas and whatnot, utilities. Depending on wherever you are, there's things that come with it. So you gotta be ready for that, and you have to understand that. So make sure that your revenue is there to actually sustain having an office. And make sure on top of that you have enough profit to still live and pay your own bills on top of the bills that you've now created for your business. It only serves your employees for the most part. For me, it gives my employees a place to come to congregate, and for me to store equipment, and for me, it gives me a place to block out all the noise, and I can actually come to somewhere and focus on work, and I don't stop and go and start laundry or walk the dog or what have you. I can be at work, and I was used to having a 9 to 5 job, so I was used to getting up in the morning, or getting up and actually going to work, and it separated that work life for me. So so it was really beneficial in that way. I think but I think a lot of me moving into an office was just insecurity, like, and me wanting to appear like a larger business than I was, and wanting to appear professional. I really don't know what else to say. I just kind of wanted to appear a little bit more professional. I thought it would make it easier to have employees want to work here, knowing that there's a place to come to. But I don't think that that's true now. Now that I've had an office. Actually, after the first office, we ended that contract. I have videos on each of these stages in my career. So go and watch those videos. I have videos of me getting the first office. I have videos of me signing the lease there. I have videos of me leaving that place, and being cyber attacked there, and the problems that we had with the property manager there. And after that, in between that time and in this office, I went back to a storage unit. So, and my company stayed exactly how it was. So it wasn't necessarily a need. I did enjoy having an office and having a space to go. So I moved into another office once the opportunity presented itself. But in between that and here, I actually went right back into a storage unit. I probably could go back into a storage unit at right now. Maybe not as these next little group of clients come in, but because now we're at a point where we actually have a little, it wouldn't make sense to have a storage unit, or it wouldn't make sense to not have an office. We may actually get a storage unit and have the office, but yeah, but I could go back today. I could go back into a storage unit and we'd be exactly the same. So it's not a need for a long time. So don't think that it's something that you're gonna need. But if it's going to help you, if you can see a way that it's going to benefit your business and help you make more money, those are the things that you should be focused on spending money on. Get your systems right. Spend money on having revenue and getting your revenue to a steady place before before you think about moving into an office, and then only do it if it's going to further your business. That's what I can advise. I advise not to do it like I did. Don't get emotional about it. Don't you know don't try to take steps that you aren't ready for. You'll know when you need it. Like I think I have a video of me in my living room, and my entire kitchen is covered in cleaning supplies. My like from window to the door. Like it was completely covered in cleaners and mop heads and buckets and everything all over my entire from my kitchen to my living room. And so when things like that are happening, yeah, maybe it's time to move into maybe not an office, but maybe it's time to start thinking about a storage unit. But I see you guys are in here. I see nobody's in the chat. Hit me up in the chat, man. Let me know if y'all got any questions. I only went into when to get an office because the young lady and Daryl asked about getting an office. But if there's anything you guys want to know while you got me here, a lot of you guys, usually are looking for opportunities to ask me questions and talk to me. I'm right here for you. Let me know. Hit me up in the chats. Get in the chat. Yeah, be kicking here for a couple more minutes. Then we shut the live down.
And is what to put on a business card for commercial cleaning business in the chat.
So, Taylor Burton, any ideas of what to put on a business card for commercial cleaning business? What to put on your business card? I mean, obviously your contact information for sure. If you have a one thing that makes your business stand out, like if you have a core competency, something that differentiates your business, then definitely put that. But I mean, it's a business card. It's just for contact information. It's not going to be like. I mean, yes, it's like a flyer, but it's more just it's just more so that they can reach you and that they remember who you are. So I mean, you want to make it, put some graphic design thought process into it to make it, readable and make it look good and make it look professional. But don't overthink it. The business card is not extremely important. You just want to have something that so you can leave it with people and they can actually get in contact with you. I think I still actually have some of the very first business cards that I've done, and they're just very simple. My logo, my name, email, the company website, company phone number, and I still give those out to this day. I did get another run of them in a different design because I know a little bit more about graphic design now, but I mean, there's no like specific information that I would say you have to have other than a way to reach you or reach your business. It's just so that they have it, so they see your branding. Make sure it's branded, of course. Make sure it's in your company colors. Make sure it's in, has your company name on it, your logo. But yeah, you don't need anything other than that. Just make sure it shows who you are, says who you are. And yeah, and that, you can leave it, so you can leave it with people and they can reach out to you. But don't overthink the business card. That's an easy one. Just your logo, your colors, contact information. That's it. Put it together in a nice, pretty way. That's all you need. It doesn't even need to be in color. Black and white works. Black, white, and your logo in color works. Just as long as you have some. Don't not have a business card. I don't have business cards for my media company, and I'm kicking myself in the back of the head because of it. So, but I appreciate you, Taylor Burton. Hope you're out there killing it. Hope you've gotten started. I hope business cards aren't holding you up from getting started. Taylor Burton says, sounds good as a website. A must when first starting out. Should you invest a lot on a website? So I did start out with a website, but that's because I had experience building one before. So it depends on if you're in commercial or if you're in residential. And to be honest, it really doesn't matter either way. it depends on how you want to go about getting your customers. For one, definitely, if you're just starting out and you haven't made any money from cleaning, don't go invest in a lot in a website. Don't do that. If you only use money that you make, that's it. Don't go spending money that you haven't made yet. So I definitely wouldn't do that and call it investing. If when you make money from your business and then you buy something that's for your business, that's investing. That's putting the money, investing the money back into the business. That's what that means. So don't start out just using your own money to invest a whole lot into a website. You can do something really simple. This is actually going to be really valuable. I might have to clip this and make a separate video. So for your website, when you first start out, you can don't be afraid to use the sites like Squarespace, Weebly or Wix or GoDaddy. If you are experienced in web design and you want to be able to build a fully through the roof, rocket ship type of a website, WordPress is the industry standard for that. If you are willing to learn WordPress, it's actually pretty intuitive nowadays. It's not as hard as it's not as hard as it used to seem. But WordPress is the industry standard for website building, so you can make a WordPress account, make a WordPress website, and you'll be able to future-proof yourself if you want to actually go that deep. But there's nothing wrong with using any of the other sites, the Weebly, the Squarespaces, the Wixes, and stuff like that. This is not a sponsored video. I wish they sponsored anybody. We're not even monetized yet. But all those websites work for building websites for your company. What I will add though is don't settle for any stock images. This is what made the difference for me and my websites. The media is always the answer. Don't settle for the stock images, even if they have one that's for a janitorial company and you think it makes you look professional. Professionals know what stock images are, and they know when stock images are branded. They know the difference between branded professional images and stock images that they've seen a million times on everyone else's website. So don't use stock images. Everywhere you see a stock image on a template, when you go to build your website somewhere, take all of those stock images off, leave them there until you can replace them with your own images. So be taking pictures of your cleaners, be taking pictures of yourself cleaning, or be taking pictures of your equipment. Make sure they're high quality, and that'll make your website stand out from everyone else who's just starting, because no one else is actually putting in the effort to swap out these stock images with images of their own, and that'll do wonders for your website. I think there's a free trial if you use any other YouTubers who sponsor. They all have promo codes where you can try it free for 30 days. I think I have a Squarespace website, which I think it's like $25 a month, and it's $12 a year through Google Domains to have your domain be exactly what you want it to be and own your domain. And then you just link it to your Squarespace, and then you own your website. What you should not do is, if you are going to hire somebody, let's say you ignore all my advice and you just are balling out the gym already and you're just trying to build something to make some money on the side, and you have all the money to invest in it, and you hire somebody to build this website for you, maintain ownership of the website. So you go and set up your account with wherever you're going to build this website, and then you have the developer log in and create it within that space. Never say have someone make a website for you and you just can see the website, or you can make some edits on the back end. You want to own your website. I've actually made that mistake before and have had to migrate a site before losing it to someone else, because I let that happen. So if you are going to hire someone, make sure it's under a platform and under a situation that you own the website, and that if you no longer do business with whoever built it for you, that your website doesn't come down, or that they can just take your site down. You want to make sure you own your website. But just starting out, nothing is a necessity just starting out. You can cold call your way to at least 300 grand before 300 grand a year before you actually need anything. You can knock on doors and make a 6-figure income if need be. So need is a subjective term in this case. If you want to look professional and you want larger accounts, and you want to give people a place to continue interacting with your company and seeing more of your company and a way to retarget people. I can't see why in 2022 you would not have a website. I really don't understand. I really don't understand it. So definitely, yes, go and make a website right now if you don't have one. But yeah, you need to have have a website. It's not necessarily a need. So again, don't let not having a website stop you from starting to sell. If you need money first of all. Sales is you can't do anything without sales. So you're gonna need. There's no workaround to that. You're gonna need people to buy your services. That way you have money to invest in whatever else you want to invest in and how you want to run your company. But there's no excuse for like not trying to sell. That's what you do is you're trying to bring in business, bring in revenue for your business. So keep that in mind. So don't let not having a website stop you. Let's see, anything else on websites? Uh, Again, with your website, SEO is a big deal. I mean, if you can master SEO, then that's free traffic for your website. You can grow a big business organically if you're focused on SEO and you study SEO and learn it and apply it yourself, or you pay a firm to handle it for you. And hopefully you can always do your research so you know who to hire and how if people know you need to know if other people know what they're talking about before you give them your money. But yeah, do your research and yeah, just do your due diligence with websites. You don't need one, but have one. Have one. Have a website. Have a Google My Business. Link it all. Make sure you put your website on your Facebook, Instagram, and all of that stuff. Create your company across all the platforms, and so that you exist. Having a strong online presence is key in business today. If you actually want to scale and you want to grow to be a big business and you want to have this be a little bit easier for you, you need to have your business be visible online, and to be visible online is free for the most part to set up. It's all free, so there's no reason not to do it. If one of your main things is you don't have revenue, at least do the free things that are going to give you revenue. At least do the free things. So be existing online, at least Facebook, Instagram, and whatever other sites that you can list yourself on, Yelp, 411, all of that stuff. All that stuff's free. So make sure you're on top of all the free stuff. Making a website is going to cost a little bit. It's going to cost a little bit of money, but definitely worth it to have it just so you exist online. I definitely think it's worth it to have it. Let's see what other comments we got. Let's see here. Delicate Dandy. Have to do any trial and error when it came to hiring employees? Absolutely. Did I have to do any trial and error when it came to hiring employees? Yes. Like I said in talking about the office situation, I felt like I wasn't getting the right type of employees, but I didn't have an office, and we were doing the interviews in Starbucks and libraries and stuff like that. And so I also didn't have like any type of training process and procedure. I kind of was just looking for people to come and help me clean. So it was all trial and error. And as I went on and as I made mistakes and I learned things weren't working for me, and I did things like creating a lot of entitlement just by like overpaying people a lot just because I want people to do a good job, and I thought that if I paid people more that they would just do a good job, and that was never the case. So it's definitely a lot of trial and error, but it's business is all people. Whether you need to convince people to do business with you, and you need to convince people to work for you. So it's all people, and I can admit that I needed a lot of work, and I couldn't get that. There's no way to get that experience and to know where you're lacking in the leadership until you start trying to do it. And until you start, and you have to be honest with yourself the entire time. You have to have some self-awareness, which is how I can see that I was the one who created the entitlement, and I could see the mistakes that I was making. You have to do that in order to be able to fix your systems, in order to be able to fix your business and grow. So it's all trial and error. I had to figure out ways to, once I hired people and I got people actually working for me, then I was like, okay, great. Well, how am I going to keep track of their time? So now I'm looking for a way to keep track of their time, or getting a way for them to clock in. I started with a clipboard. all this is on video on my channel. Definitely go back through my channel and watch some of my first videos. You can watch me get my first client. You can watch me do my first floor job. You know, you can watch what I did when I didn't have, you know, mop hoses and all kinds of stuff. Like all this stuff is there. You can see my entire journey through here. I did a pretty good job documenting it, so definitely go check it out. But yeah, it was all trial and error. I made all the mistakes. I had to figure out how I was going to have people clock in. Went from clipboard to looking for software, and then finding software, and then trying to figure out the logistics of, how I was going to get them to get the equipment that they needed, how I was going to get them to have the uniforms that they needed, and how many I would give them when they started versus how many would I have them purchase their own uniforms. It's all trial and error, and there's no way around it unless you buy a franchise and you follow their patterned out process and procedure. You have to create your own, and you don't really know. You can do your best. I mean, obviously, do your best to think through problems and think ahead and try to imagine what can go wrong in a situation as you're coming up with things. As you're about to bring someone on, obviously think of how you're going to train them, think of the logistics and how you're going to do things, and try to set that up before. But there's going to be things that come up. There's always going to be things that come up, and there's nothing you can do about it. But you're the CEO, so it's your job to put out fires. That's 90% of the job is hearing what's wrong and looking for a way to fix it. And so that can be stressful. If that's not your thing, then being the CEO might not be for you. You might want to just be a financial partner and find someone to manage the people for you, and you pay them handsomely for that. But if you're going to build this yourself, then it's something that you're going to have to do, and something that you're going to have to get good at is working with your employees, evaluating yourself, evaluating them, and coming up with systems and ways to make things work for you, so that you can focus on what else you need to do to make the company bigger, and you free up more and more of your time and make more and more money. But I like that question. Thanks for asking the question. I really appreciate it. Delicate Dandy. Hope I'm saying the name right. Let's see. Taylor Burton. So I was thinking the same thing. Like stock image is trash. Trash. Well, I started a media company. As much as often and as much as you can, if you're trying to be a professional company and trying to look professional online, definitely have high quality branded images. Branded images is key. Sets you apart. Go try to look for any medium-sized cleaning company and tell me what their media looks like. If it looks like they actually have professional photographers, or if they actually look like a large company. And then go look at a large company and tell me that the only difference that you see is high quality pictures. So let's see here. So how about contracts? To use a template when starting out. You have an attorney make any contracts. So yeah, that's exactly it. About how did I start off getting my contracts or getting paperwork? I found the template online, and I edited it to what I wanted it to include. I changed a couple terms that I didn't like in a policy and procedure document, and as things went on and as things happened and people asked questions, I would add those lines or add those caveats or whatever you would call them, and I rocked with that for maybe about six months or so. Then I realized I should probably have a lawyer take a look at it. I had a lawyer take a look at the verbiage and take a look over the contract just to make sure that it was something that would stand up in court, which I've honestly never had to take something that far. But yeah, and I got that cleared. I think it cost maybe $1,200 to a lawyer to look over the paperwork and do some editing, which in hindsight was actually a waste at the time that I did it, because I then hired a good friend of mine. I just gave a good friend of mine $50 to put it in a spreadsheet form of like a fill out a form that was my own template now, basically, where I can kind of go through and check on boxes for if a client is receiving this, that, and the third, or not receiving this, that, and the third, and the rest of the contract was kind of spelled out. And I did it in that way so I could so it can be interactive with the internet, and I can actually do DocuSign documents and stuff like that with it. And so it's progressed over time. But yeah, I started with a template, edited the template, got it and made sure it was legal. Reworked the entire thing to make it completely my own, and that's what we're rocking with now. And so, yeah, let's put some time into it. Let's see. So if anybody else have any questions, if y'all want to know anything, I know y'all don't get to hit me up live. A lot of people are looking for coaching and stuff like that. I am not going to sell you coaching. It's just not something I plan on doing. There's enough people on YouTube already out here selling you guys coaching. There are some good ones. There are, you obviously got to do some research, do your due diligence to find the good ones. But there's a lot of, I don't even want to be remotely associated with the scam of an industry that it's become. And it's because people have found this, they're misusing this content model that is the way that you should do business. You should be providing value to people and trying to target your end user, and then offering them your services if they're in the same industry, if they're looking for it. But the way that they go about it in this way of trying to help people or giving information, but holding off some information to say, oh, if you really want success, then you need to give me money. It doesn't sit well with me. And I think when we look back through history, when we look back on history, I would rather be on this side of history than to say I participated in that or that I made my money in that way. And I make enough money in my cleaning business, and I don't need to make my money in that. I don't need to go that low. I don't know if you guys know a lot about my background beyond the fact that I was homeless when I started my company, but I come from the Desire Projects in New Orleans, Louisiana. Like I've been down that road. Like I'm 100% with the shits. I promise you. But I'm far away from that life now. Like I've made all those wrong choices. I've tried to make money in all the wrong ways. I've done all of that. Like I know what that's like, and it is no reason for it. I'm in a whole different place now. I moved up to Seattle. I moved to the West like the Fresh Prince, and that's why I'm here, man. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to sell you guys coaching. I'm here. I want to help you. I put up a video on how to get free coaching. So go and find that resource that's in your neighborhood, because you can get free coaching from real business coaches. It doesn't need to be someone who says they know specifically about cleaning on YouTube and that they're trying to sell you cleaning coaching. You can learn from the CFO of a Fortune 400 company or Fortune 100 company, because you're not a Fortune 100 company. So a CFO or someone who ran the finances for that size of a company probably has a little bit of advice for you. So you don't need to buy coaching from these people on YouTube. There's resources, there's business resources. The country runs on capitalism. It's not the best system in the world, but what are you going to do other than participate in the program? Like, you need to sit there and be upset about how we run the country, or you can participate and take advantage of all the things that the way that they've set up the game to be played, and just play it. Let's see. I don't remember what got me on that rant. Where did I get that rant from? Where did I start going on that rant? Yeah, maybe that. I don't know. But I got sidetracked. Let me get back into the comments, see what you guys are talking about. Let's see. Amazing answers. Hello. Divine Chosen. What's up, Divine Chosen? How you feeling? Hope y'all killing it out there, man. How y'all businesses are doing? Is everybody going great? Everybody doing good? Tell me the real. The only one tells the real in the business. I ain't got no reason to lie to you. That's why I got on the tangent. Is because, yeah, coaching. Somebody in the comments asked me for coaching. And yeah,
right.
yeah. I'm not selling you guys coaching. You can put yourself on my schedule to like chat with me one-on-one if you want. But I encourage you not to do that. Eventually I'll do stuff like this and go live. Come be a part of the community and kick it with me on live. Get down in my comment section. I've never not responded to a comment in my comment section. I promise you. So if you ask me something and if I have an answer, even if it's a long comment, I'll respond. Ask other people in the comments. There's people there like with other channels and stuff waiting to give you the answer as well if I don't respond immediately. So just be a part of the community, and I'm here to help, man. I don't want to extract money directly from you guys. I do want to monetize the channel though. Hence why we are doing lives now. So I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I appreciate y'all helping your boy out with this watch time. If I've ever brought you any value, help us monetize the channel. That way there's a reason to do this every day. And the larger we get, the more I get to help you guys, so that this pops up on my schedule a little bit more. Because once it's a money making activity and it's something that we can do and actually generate income from, we can do giveaways. I have a reason to do this more. I want to put it on my schedule more, and yeah, we can actually grow this to be something. So that's how we want to monetize this channel. So if everyone's thinking like, oh, he's gotta want something, he's not trying to not sell us anything. No, I want this channel to be big. We've grown this channel from what I only thought was going to be at the most 500 people to over 2K. I think we can run it up to 10K now. If we can run it up to 10K, then I think we're Gucci. But we need to tackle this watch time first. So we had 3,000, trying to run it up to 4,000. We need everybody to just go watch your favorite videos. Go look for some of those videos of mine that you haven't watched. Go watch how I started back in the day. A lot of it, most of it hasn't changed, and it's pretty much, since it's pre-COVID, even easier now. So let's see what other questions we got. We got Divine Chosen says business is going well. Good. That's what I like to hear. Right now it's a real neat little pocket in the industry where there's like a gap in between the spring cleaning and like that right in the middle beginning of summer before we get into to August and fall, and then it kind of goes dry during that time. But we're in this nice little pocket where you can grab some. Like, I'm up for the biggest contract in my life right now, and so I actually just touched out to that to feel how that's going in a bit. But this contract will make your boy my pockets will be fat for no reason. There's just nowhere else to put the money other than to pay myself a little bit more. So but yeah, it's a nice little pocket in the industry right now. So go ahead and get you some. Be out there telling people what you do and offering them your services. Stop trying to get around that. Let's see. Just lost a client. I'm good. Just beautified. Hey, some of them go down. They go down sometimes. That's how it is. I am blessed that I have not lost more clients, but I've had some relationships go bad. I think I've had two things go bad. I had a recent client, but all within I have a 30-day trial period. It's paid because I get paid up front, so they pay me, and we work for 30 days before I make them commit to any type of long-term agreement. That's how I run my contract. But in that, I've had two people actually cancel within that first 30 days over my entire 7 years of business. So I've had people part ways after we've done business for 4, 5, 6 years and stuff like that, and just go in a different direction, or if price increases and they just didn't want to stay with us, or they found a cheaper way or started hiring somebody else. I've had that happen, and so I do consider those losses, but not really. I mean, you make your money back after the first half a year. For me, at least I do. I make my money back on clients usually within half a year. And then if I have them for multiple years, then it's all profit after that. So I'm not really too concerned. I don't consider it a loss. I just kind of squeeze that for as much as I could. I'm definitely not great at upselling, as great as upselling as I could be. I could be tacking on a lot more services than I am right now, and beefing up my revenue that way. But yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Glad we got the chat popping. Good to see y'all actually awake now. Good to see y'all woke up. Finally. Let's see. Still Burns as a janitor for 10 years. Took care of 33 square foot building. In my own business. Thanks for your advice. August 1st. Taylor. I wish I could bring you on the screen, Taylor. August, you were a janitor for 10 years, which means you know what you're doing. You know more about janitorial than I do. You've been doing this work for 10 years. What I was afraid of, I was afraid of going out and asking for business because I didn't know what I was doing once they said yes. That was my only fear. My biggest fear is that some huge facility would say yes right off the bat, and I didn't know how to clean. I didn't know how to actually go about cleaning. That was my fear. You actually know what you're doing. Why are you waiting till August 1st? What are you waiting for? There's nothing that I'm gonna let you not answer that because there's no reason to wait. Get started. Put yourself out there. Get a Facebook page up. Go figure out your logo or figure out what letter you're gonna put up to start with. Go make your company's Google My Business. Your phone can start ringing by tomorrow. If you put up a Google My Business, your phone could ring tomorrow. You can start putting together, and at least talking to people. At least getting in the habit. Let's just do. Everybody says I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna start then. I'm gonna start just do something today. Just do something today. Pick a couple hours and do something today. You can. I hate that. I hate I'm going to get started on X amount day. Let's not do that. Let's go. Let's just knock it out. Let's knock it out. Let's see. Lifelong follower. I appreciate it. I hope that you are here for much more, and I want to see you go from where you are now, having not started or waiting to start for some reason, to I want to see you above 7 figures. It's not unthinkable. I have the one client that I'm up for is an above 7-figure contract by itself. So to say that you can't, don't think that you can't get to 7 figures. Yes, I said 7. That's M's. You can get M's in this business. And you can pay yourself M's in this business. It doesn't take as much as you think. It's a lot of work, and it's detailed work, but it's definitely not as much as you would think. So I want to see you there, Taylor. I want to see you getting it. I want to see you, I want to see you chasing it. Knock on some doors, make some calls, send some emails, something. Get to it. Let's see here. Oh, that's good. That's a question. What is compliance department? Depends on your area, compliance department, but within your area, there's going to be different entities that are going to govern your compliance with whether it's OSHA or everybody has to follow OSHA compliance. But as you get into hiring employees, and you start paying your, I think it's here, is it WorkSource, LaborWorks, or whatever the employment security people are, L&I. Yeah. L&I, you start paying L&I and all of that stuff. They give you all these documents that kind of give you the rules of what you can and cannot do with employees and how to stay in compliance. You want to make sure that you are in compliance. It's not really like there's not a bunch of compliance police officers going out there and knocking on your doors and checking on your stuff, but it's good to just be doing the right thing. Always be found doing the right thing. That's it. Just in case. This is not worth it if anything ever comes up or you ever under any type of microscope. It's just better to be found doing the right thing. So stay in compliance. Lost them due to price increase. Price increase. Yeah, if you lost a client due to price increase, then it wasn't the customer. It just wasn't the customer. They don't fit the business model. That's cool. Some people just don't fit the business model. Don't try to fit people into the business model when they don't fit. I negotiate, but I don't change my business model for nobody. I bill up front, and my price is my price. I negotiate a little bit. That's as far as that goes. I got some wiggle room because I'm not greedy. I don't need to make 30% on every deal, but we gonna be in that neighborhood. Let's see. We guys should do this and figure out where full-time jobs and back working evenings and weekends. Delicate Dandy wants to know any advice on commercial spots that you can clean on weekends and evenings. I don't have any daytime clients anymore. I don't think I have no day porter accounts. I think there's a day porter section to the new one, right? But I don't think nowhere else is clean during the day, right?
Not right now.
Not right now. No, we're all night. Everything I have is nighttime and in the evening. So you can literally, any business that closes, you can go and clean after dark. So you can do gyms. I started with gym facilities, so it was easy to go for gyms. back when I started, or at least out here in Seattle, anyone who's in Seattle is gonna laugh at this, but in Seattle, there was a crazy outbreak of staph and MRSA in all these gym facilities, which is freaking gross. But yeah, so it was easy for me to kind of sell cleaning to gyms because I'm like, hey, you don't want to have, you don't want to be on the news with the rest of these people saying that your place is one of the ones with staph and MRSA, right? So, and of course they did not. So it was an easier sell for me to get into that niche. But if you guys know my story, that was dangerous. I niched a little too far down and got just nothing but gyms. COVID happens, shuts all gyms down, and I lose 70% of my revenue. So, but that's definitely stay diverse. But gyms are a good thing to go to. Churches are good. Are good. They're usually big churches are good clients to get into. They're usually pretty easy to get into. Let's see what else are good clients. 8 heating and cooling companies. I don't know what area. If you're in Georgia, heating and cooling companies. If you're in Arizona, something like that, heating and cooling companies. All the warm places, heating. Where there's heating. If actually all the cold places, heating and cooling companies. Anywhere that's actually a thing. If you're not in like a beautifully climate controlled, climate perfect area, then yeah, hit those heating and cooling companies. That's a large section of my business now that I've diversified to even out my portfolio of clients. Let's see, what's other good client types? If you like retail, I like some retail. When we had the North Face out here, the big huge North Face in downtown Seattle, I liked doing that. I didn't like parking and paying for parking. That ate into my profits a little bit, but what are you gonna do? It's a major metropolitan area, so just think about things like that. If you're gonna target businesses in major metropolitan areas, parking might be a bitch. So remember that before you do that, and just kind of gauge your pricing and make sure you adjust your costs accordingly. But yeah, retail establishments, warehouses, industrial like plants and things are usually good things for like to get large areas. Class A buildings, big office buildings and stuff like that are usually good if you can get so you want the actual building manager, that the person that's actually in charge of the facility as itself, not one of the businesses inside of an apartment of a commercial building. You want to get whoever's in charge of maintaining or collecting rent for that entire building. So it seems a little bit intimidating, but these are just people. Yes, these people have a lot of money. They're very important people. People look up to them and whatnot. But at the end of the day, these are just people who just so happen to be in their situations. And one day, these are the people these are the people you need to be shaking hands with, so that you are one of those people. So don't fear them. Hit these people up. Reach out to them just like you would the secretary who answers the phone, and try to work with these people. But those are the people that you have to reach in order to get those big contracts. It's directors of operations. It's not going to be head maintenance guy or head of maintenance. It's going to be the people in charge making the real business decisions. So don't let that intimidate you. Talk to those people just like they're regular people. Let's see what else. But yeah, that's it. I mean, get creative. I usually don't do like law offices or dentist offices. Those are good like for small accounts. Like I like to let those type of things come to me. Even when this is how I guess arrogant maybe I was starting out. I have never gone after small accounts. Like maybe to practice cold calling, there was some small accounts in my lead list, or the list that I printed out from Google. There was like law offices and small places and small offices in there. But as far as what I spend money on, I only try to market to big accounts. I only try to get the North Face, the Disney, the Planet Fitness. I only try to get huge. That's where I put all my efforts, so that when it does pay off, it actually pays off. That's where I put all my efforts, and I use everything organic to let those smaller accounts just come to me. I try to attract those accounts, and I want them to come to me begging for me. I try to get them into my ecosystem via my website or wherever else, and of course we cookie them, and we try to stay in front of them multiple times, and we just but we let those come to us. We're not going out and doing outbound sales for those accounts. I only do outbound for the whales. That's what I do. I'll do outbound for whales, big huge accounts. So yeah, that's how I approach it. I know, yeah, and that's just because I know what I need for my business to maintain, and it just doesn't make sense to add another, you know, you get what 2 hours a week if you show up to somewhere once a week at a small office that they need clean. It just the economics just isn't there. If it's just you, and that's where you're starting, then you can get a few of those to just make a living, and you can make a good living like that. But definitely, it's going to be difficult to to get out of that, because you're going to have to find someone to take over some while you make a little bit less. To me, it's just easier to go for larger accounts, which is the reason we get into commercial anyway. So we didn't get into commercial cleaning to clean an 800 square foot, law office, or an 900 square foot insurance agent's office. We didn't get into it for that. When we said we wanted to do commercial cleaning, the reason why we say like it's big. When we say commercial, we think large commercial. Let me see what else we got. Ooh. Let me see. We got you trying blah. We go all the way up. ATL. Shout out to the ATL. I used to live in Atlanta for a little bit. For like 45 days with my grandpa. We was running from one of the hurricanes back in the 90s. But let me see. Fine, Chosen. Can't wait to hit 7 figures. You got this. You're not that far away. I mean, think about it. Like, if you get a 5-day a week account or 6-day a week account, those are usually roughly around $4 or $5 grand each. So you get 2 $4 grand accounts. That's $8 grand a month. You right there at 6 figures already. That's easy. That's 2 accounts. If you're only targeting 5 daily cleans, you get 2 of those. That's 2 of those, and you're at 6 figures. That's it. That means at 20, it's a slow count up to 20. You just do that 10 more times, and you're at 7 figures. I'm oversimplifying it, and there's stuff that happens in between, but the goal is never that far off. You should be able to just see it. It should feel right there, like you can taste it. It's right there. It's easy. Let's see what else we got in the comments. What do you recommend? I'm doing direct mail to 200 apartment property managers, and then gonna ED every door direct mail as well. For apartment complex, so everything can work. Everything most definitely can work. I've done the flyers. I've done direct door campaigns. I've done mailers and stuff like that before. It was definitely before I ever thought about like graphic design as an actual thing to do. So I was much worse at it when I approached it. I did see a return, but at the level I started out with, I overextended myself in that area, in that avenue of marketing, and so it put a sour taste in my mouth for a good bit until I studied a lot more about marketing and started to see the value in things like every door direct mail and mailer campaigns. If you have a good flyer, it can work. If it's low cost for you, if the cost it makes sense for you, and you can actually if you can make it profitable, and your offer is good, and your offer doesn't put you negative after the first at least after 6 months, you can make your money back, then go for it. It wouldn't be my number one. I would more, how I would approach it would be more reverse engineering what kind of things the apartment manager does online, since that's usually cheaper to reach people on, is online. So I would either buy a lead list of apartment managers, contact information for apartments. You can actually just go and it would almost for me it would even almost be more valuable to go to each apartment complex and get their email address. Like real talk. Real talk, I would do that before I sent out mailers, because I know most of my mailers are going to go in the garbage. And so I would literally go and I would go to each apartment complex, knock on the leasing office door, ask for whoever the manager is, and I would chop it up with it for half a second. Hey, just wanted to stop in and introduce myself. Do you have a car that I can grab, and maybe I can and we can talk more later when you have some more time? And that would be it. I grab their card. Now they've actually seen you. They may even know a little bit about your business, but when you go to send that email, your open rate or her actually looking at what your offer is way more likely than if it came in a pile of mail that they get every day and they throw everything that's not addressed directly to them or looks like of any like importance to them right in the trash. So I feel like just the rate at which someone will respond to that type of marketing is going to be 10 times higher. That's my opinion though, but that's don't let me stop you from doing mailers. It's just because I suck at mailers. I'm just letting you know what I would do. So I hope that helps. Hope that gives you some perspective, or at least lets you know to try to always in any avenue, anything of marketing, try to re-engineer or try to walk backwards from how it's going to be from your potential customers as people see or view or start interacting with your company. So always think about it from their perspective. The end user's perspective is what everyone's fighting for. Let's see what else we got. Start. Let's see, Taylor's another back end of the bill. I'm just confused on pricing and contracts. Taylor's confused on pricing and contracts. What exactly? I wanna help you through. I wanna help you through that. So, what exactly are you having trouble with in coming up with pricing or coming up with your contracts? Because with contracts, you can definitely just start with a template, and add or delete whatever you think is necessary. And I promise you that's sufficient. I promise you it's okay. No, it's not like people aren't gonna laugh at you. It's not gonna look extremely unprofessional if you put some effort into it. Just make it your own. But yeah, just get started. And pricing can be difficult, but at the end of it, it's all just your man hours. It's gonna be man hours. I think according to ISSA, at least 2 or 3 years ago, when I looked at their cleaning times a couple of years ago, I think they were, generally speaking, I think it was one person can clean about 2,500 square feet in an hour. So you can do that. How if the place is, 5,000 square feet, then it would take one person the 2 hours to clean it. And so you start there from your man hours. If you pay your employees $30 an hour, that's going to cost you 60 because you multiply by 2 for the 2 man hours it's going to cost. So that would be your cost to do that. It's going to cost you 60. You're going to charge your 120 so that you have 30% of taxes and 20% for profit. And but yeah, that's oversimplified, but it's you obviously make it your own. You just you're making it your own, but don't try to overthink of it. Just how many hours is it going to take for the job to get done? How many people, how many hours, how much is that going to cost you? What the rest of the expenses that is going to cost you, and your profit, and then you're good. Start from there, and then as you see what's working and what's not, you adjust from there. But you gotta get started somewhere. What you need is data. You need to have data. You need to have information to make these decisions on. And you're not going to get the information kind of theorizing about it. You can read about push-ups all you want, but until you do one, you're not going to get any muscles. So that's pretty much it. You gotta exercise it. You gotta actually step out there and do it. So let's see what else is on here. Thoughts on apartment complexes? I love them. I lived in one. I love apartment complexes. I don't know, cleaning them. I mean, it's decent work if you get a partnership going. Like every now and then you get the move in, move out, deep clean that you can charge a good bit for. Those are usually really profitable. Deep cleans are usually really, really profitable. If you have a whole area of apartment complexes that solely go through you can make that pretty frequent. It's not as frequent unless it's like apartment complex that has like indoor hallways and things like that, or catwalks and stuff that you can clean on the daily. Uh, I usually stay away from them just because there's not enough hours to bill for. But again, can be good to like little boosters for your business. All revenue is good revenue to me. I ain't gonna turn down no money. And see, North Carolina. Shout out to North Carolina, my little sister. Actually, somebody asked what the song is that plays in the beginning of my video. That's actually my baby sister's song. My baby sister is a rapper, and that's her song, Boss Babe. And she actually went to Fisk in North Carolina, Fisk University. So shout out to North Carolina. I went out there a couple times to visit her, and I got nothing but love out there in NC. So shout out to y'all. Let's see. In NC, churches don't really pay. Yeah, I didn't realize you were in North Carolina when I said that. So yeah, probably church is not a good idea. I know they're a little more tight with the budget down there. It's not like Houston or Seattle where we got mega churches all over the place. So let's see. I missed the answer to when did you get in office? You did. That was actually the first part. You can go back to that once this live is over. I'm gonna be hopping out of here pretty shortly. But yeah, you can go back to the beginning and watch how I went about getting in office. But I didn't get in office probably until my third or fourth year in business. I didn't. Long story short, I didn't do it in a way that I would advise you to do it. I got in office because it was the motivation factor for me more than anything else. It was more based off insecurity than me needing to have an office. I am at a point now where honestly I need the office. It kind of be hard to go back now. I mean, I could go back into a storage unit and make it work with a small space, but I just have too much stuff now to kind of go back to just having a storage unit and working out of my home. I have too much stuff, and I have a whole media company now. But it's not something that you need for a long time. But if it's gonna be something that's gonna push your business forward, or if you feel like it's crowding your personal life, the second it starts crowding your personal life and you're not able to separate work and personal life, then it might be time to start thinking about at least getting a storage unit. I did have a storage unit first. Go back through my videos. You can watch when I had a storage unit. We did a whole video of leaving the storage unit, moving into our first office, and how long it took after that. But I did it for a couple reasons. I didn't feel like I was making a professional enough appearance with potential employees. When I was doing interviews, I would have people meet me at like Starbucks or university study rooms and stuff like that, and we would use those to have interviews. And it would work every now and then, but the close rate on that, or the success rate on that, was just not high enough for me. So I didn't look professional enough, in my opinion. I've seen people do it, and so I know it works, but just for me, it didn't work. And I also wanted more separation of my personal life, and I wanted to feel like I was doing this for real. I wanted to feel like I was actually owning a business, and I wanted to be able to drive down the street and say, hey, yeah, that's my company. That's the business that I own. There was something about having that made me feel like I was going to show up every day and give 10 times more effort than I was giving, because I had gotten comfortable, and there wasn't really a whole lot of reason to push myself other than to want to be a big company. And so I let that be the driving factor. And I knew big companies had offices and places for their employees to congregate and to be and to come together and to have meetings. And it also was great for SEO, for me having a location. When you have a location, Google loves being able to point to say, hey, this business is right here, you're close to this business. So it worked. I saw more reasons to than not to. Financially, at the time that I did it, it probably wasn't a smart idea. I probably only had 2 months of backup payroll and maybe a month of what would have covered my office expenses, because I didn't think about having to get cable and internet and phone service and furniture for the office, and you got electricity bills and gas bills and stuff like that. You got triple net fees and depending on your commercial lease. So you gotta learn commercial leases so you don't get screwed over. So there was a lot of that stuff that I didn't take into consideration when I first got my first office. But I did it, and I made the jump because I was self-aware enough to know that when I had it, that I was going to I was going to bust my ass. That I knew that in the grand scheme of where I wanted to be, the price of the office was minuscule. So I figured I needed it anyway. So I wanted to have it, and I just went for it. And I wasn't necessarily financially ready. It was before the point where I would tell you to go for an office. You definitely should have at least a few months. I would say even 6 months to a year's worth of expenses before you move in. That sounds crazy, but we just saw COVID. If anything happens and you have this lease and your clients can't pay you, or they go out of business or they get shut down for whatever reason, and that revenue goes away, your landlord is still going to want his money. So you have, it's better to be prepared than to not. And you can say, you can, take your chances and risk it like I did, but it can be stressful, and you can stress yourself into a hospital with that kind of stress, because that can put your business out of business, and you don't want to make decisions that can put you out of business. The name of the game is just to keep playing. If you're in the market for long enough, you'll be successful. Just don't stop. So, but long story short, or short story long, that's when I got an office. I had my first office probably 3 or 4 years ago. When we moved out of that office, we moved back into the storage unit, and then we moved into this office. So, and then that video is up. I think. I don't know if we went to the storage unit and filmed any there for the DJ The Boss channel. Did we?
I think there might be some little pieces of footage somewhere.
There might be little pieces of footage in there, but yeah, we filmed some of that. I know we definitely filmed when we got into this office, because I was stoked about it, because it's much bigger than my old one. As you can see, I'm in it right now. My space is my media studio. If you guys don't know, I own a media company, 9 Media Creative, which is where you can follow me on Instagram if you're trying to link up. If you want to hit me up, and DM me. If you can't reach me here, I would usually, if I see that it's from YouTube, I probably won't respond, because I like to have all that everything YouTube here. But you can follow me on Instagram. You can hit me up in the DMs. I do usually respond, but I want this community to be here in YouTube until we move together somewhere else. We will move together as a family. Let's see. Pocahontas says, "Do I use bidding calculators?" No, I do not. I do not use bidding calculators. It's not like they're doing anything extremely complicated math wise. It's not like it's an algorithm or something that they have set up. It's a pretty spreadsheet. It's a pretty Excel spreadsheet if you know how to format equations inside of cells. You're literally just inputting some numbers about size, how many hours it takes, your production rate. I'm gonna have to do a video on production rates for you guys. That's a pretty important thing once you start to price out larger jobs, and you're doing it more frequently. It could help to know production rate of a certain facility. If it's like, say, a really dirty facility is going to take you much longer to clean than it would a facility of the same size that's maintained a little bit more. It doesn't have the same type of activity going into it, and so that's what we mean when we say your production rate. So that's in terms of cleaning, and so knowing your production rate can help you come up with pricing much faster, or spit out pricing for certain business types much faster. But I don't use bidding calculators. It's not. I don't have anything against them. I just don't necessarily need to. I'm pretty decent at math, and I usually like my numbers better than the bidding calculators anyway. So, not that I'm overly greedy or anything. I have faith in my sales skills, and I have faith in being able to communicate value, beyond what something may seem like it should cost, and so that I rest in that. I just kind of sit in that. I also never wanted to rely on something that I didn't own, and I felt like if I relied on a bidding calculator, then I would never learn how to come up with my own pricing, and that's what I was afraid of. And so, it's still somewhat complicated to train salespeople on pricing, but it's better than me not knowing how to come up with my own pricing. And I think you should definitely get good at coming up with your own pricing, or a way to come up with pricing for yourself. Maybe use a bidding calculator, see what it says, see what number you like better. Especially if you get the contract and you see how it goes, and you see how profitable that bidding calculator was for you, how much money you get to stick in your pocket, and how much money your business gets to keep at the end of that day by going off of that bidding calculator. If you like what's going on, then cool, stay in that pocket. But but you can also start switching around and start experiment with higher prices and lower prices, and seeing if they close faster or close slower, or if they actually close at higher prices, and then you can actually find your price. So, but there's no way around doing the work, guys. You just got to do the work. But yeah, if there's no other questions, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this live. Let's see, make sure. Yep, there's no other questions. So I got everybody. So right. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate all of you guys for joining the live. It's let's see, thanks. Yeah, everybody, man. I'm glad we all out here winning. Y'all wish me luck. I'm about to send another email to my potential client and hopefully secure this bag. We can get back to some other stuff, man. I'll be around, man. Y'all get in the comments. Go watch my other videos. I really need y'all to watch my other videos. And let's run this watch time up. We need this 1,000 hours. I'll be going live a couple more times this week. So y'all see me in the YouTube. If you turn the notifications on so you know when I go live. Usually I'm only able to do it like on a sporadic moment's notice. So I'm not able to like set a notification to go out for everybody, or like do a premiere or anything like that. So if you get a notification that I'm live, come in, hop in, chop it up with me, ask me whatever you want. And yeah, we'll do that for the next couple of weeks, or probably until we hit our 1,000 watch hours that we need in order to monetize the channel. But the people that are here, the people that are in this room right now, this is why I do it, because you guys are the people that are showing that this is what you actually want to do. If you're not right now, you could be watching Netflix. You could be doing some other thing that's not going to push you forward in your business. I know that all of you can make it because this is what you're doing right now. This is what you need to be doing. Research, subscribing to channels that give you information about the thing that you're trying to do. So I'm happy for all of y'all. I'm so proud of this community. I'm so proud of the progress and seeing everybody out here getting after it, man. I love it. I love the energy. Y'all keep it up. Keep that boss mentality. I love y'all. Peace. In the stream.